precessional prelude of unparalleled splendor, reflecting Circus Dome's perpetual appeal to children of all ages. In ring number 3, 30 tons of elephants, a herd of ponderous pachyderm performers exhibiting thrills and skills of unrivaled prowess. Over ring number 1, wizards of flight, daring displays of unrivaled accomplishments on the flying trapeze. The famous Sabians, who fly like winged birds through space. It's showtime. The performance starts as soon as you enter that big tent. And they're all here alive and living. Strange and human curiosities. It's showtime, so hurry, 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 hurry.
Circus has been around since the 1800s.
PETA now protesting the Universal Circus over claims that they say the animals are not treated fairly.
Trying through the years to stay modern, incorporating technology, focusing on more breathtaking stunts. But in the end, it wasn't enough. After 146 years of flashy costumes, breathtaking acrobatics, and exotic animals, Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus says it's taking down its big top for good.
Ringling Brothers, the circus that I was a part of, used to be a 3-ring circus with a ton of elephants, and in that time, that was the only form of entertainment these people had. They didn't have TVs, they had radios, you know, but no entertainment. They didn't have YouTube, they didn't have Instagram, they didn't have Facebook, and so circus was the biggest form of entertainment, and people would just line up to see the circus whenever it came into town because it was just something that people have never seen before.
When people think about circus modern day, at least like when I think about it, I think a lot of Cirque du Soleil. So I think a lot of acrobatic acts, a lot of contortion, you know, aerial is a huge part of circus now. Formerly, you didn't really think about aerialists as the main part of the circus. You thought about the clowns and the elephants and the ringmasters.
Maybe 10 years ago, we started to really develop these different non-traditional skills or looks. Costumes started to get a little bit more edgy. Social media has really just exploded the aerial arts and circus in general. And so I think we're at a really neat time in the aerial arts world and the circus world.
In general, there's a lot more of an attempt to gather acts from a bunch of different cultures. So like I just did a whole review on the inclusivity of circus and the circus industry itself. And Cirque du Soleil alone, whenever it performs acts, it recruits from 50 countries worldwide. So there's a huge attempt to bring in acts not just from like Europe or from America or from Latin America. There's a wide range of people from different cultures and ethnicities that are coming in and creating something together, which is definitely a huge change.
Any kind of other dance mix can be part of modern circus, fire dancing, hoop dancing, and the idea of circus can be so expanded and open that with the movements that are happening in our generation, I feel like it's growing and evolving to so many different branches that there is a place for everybody.
So you have your classic circus, which is your usual black and white stripe, red and yellow stripe, blue and yellow stripe, clowns, jugglers, etc. A lot of the old calliope music would be considered with classic circus. And then you have modern circus, which is more of like what I do, and that is modern music, modern styles, modern ideals, characters, storylines, etc. And then you have all of these little branches off, like burlesque has always been part of the circus. Usually that's mostly what I do, is the burlesque side of things. Back in the old days when they would have a variety show, like a late night secret variety show, there would be circus artists and variety performers, and then they would put the burlesque performer at the end. You have sideshow, and sideshows where, you know, people will hang weights from their eyelids or eat glass, or eat fire. Sideshow is really fun because it does get really nitty-gritty, and you are paying somebody to see them hurt themselves and have them play it off like it's cool. Shows are much more about telling a story and having specific character outlines.
I think that circus artists themselves are superheroes because we do things that maybe we were born to do these things, but I don't think we knew that our bodies could perform these amazing feats or amazing acts.
A lot of people seem to think it's easy when it's in fact not easy at all.
Which initially made me fall in love with the circus, just like, oh my gosh, how does somebody do that? Being pushed to the limits, like seeing people who are in circus let their bodies be pushed to whatever their mental, physical limits are. And it's really exciting to watch, even if I can't do it forever.
Of course, you have the people, the disbelievers who are in the audience like, oh, that's easy, I could do that. Like, I can do a pull-up, that's fine, I can do that. But when you're 30 feet in the air, only holding onto the rope with one hand, I don't think one of those disbelievers would be able to do that.
You know, if people don't realize how hard it is, and, you know, they come and take a class and then they have a new appreciation for it.
Some people will go and take those classes and realize like, oh shit, that's hard.
The circus has come a long way as far as like safety and human rights and animal rights and that kind of thing. You hear all these horror stories about trapeze artists that were performing without nets and they fell and like broke their entire spine. Every single circus performance I've been to is well rigged. You know, you have to rig it to where you can hang like 6 cars from the same rig and like it won't fall. You know, and there's safety mats everywhere, you know, there's nets if you're doing a trapeze performance. Cirque du Soleil performers perform with mats.
I feel like it's so accessible to everybody, and even when people think it's not accessible to them, it is.
A great example would be the show that we just finished. We were on a 3-week run with the Petite Palace, which is a small circus tent. We did it here in Dallas, right by White Rock Lake at the Bathhouse Cultural Center. Cirque du Soleil is doing a really great job of keeping it modern, keeping it edgy, keeping people connected to the circus rather than far away. And I think that they are accessible enough because there's so many shows and they go to so many areas.
Our number one current issue is being compensated for what we are worth. People don't realize how much time we spend on training and recovering and paying to see these doctors, and paying for apparatuses are very expensive. Getting our hardware changed regularly is expensive. Like each apparatus that we use is several $100s.
It's a lot of work involved behind the scenes. Whenever you only get about 5 minutes on stage actually doing your act, but in preparation for that act, there's so much more to it.
Just what we want to be valued for, because we're out there putting our hearts out there, putting our bodies out there on the line.
We're always itching to travel again and perform everywhere we can. It's what we love to do, so.
Circus, for me as a performer, and I know a lot of my other friends, is to make people feel something through ourselves. Like we are our art, and we just all each try to create magic, and sharing it is a wonderful thing.
Please come and support your local circus everything, and I think you won't regret it, and you'll have a really, really great time. Circus is something that is so special, and you cannot put to words the feeling that you get whenever you walk into a circus tent, and so I think that it's just really, really special.
I do think going forward, it's going to be a question of like making it more accessible and making it more publicly known.
Just extending all of these olive branches to all these different little areas of circus, and people are really running wild with it. And you have so many different performances and genres that are coming from the end of Ringling.
We just hope it's enjoyed forever, and it's something that will continue to live on in a positive light.
Yes, it's the end of an era, but I feel like with the end of that era, it's just like, fly, go do all the things.